Hey Spyder community, my name is Harry. I'm one of the owners here at Showchrome, and I want to thank you very much for buying one of our trunk shocks for the Spyder RT or F3. This is a video on how to make a small tweak to the product that we've sent to you, of course free of charge. We've identified that a small number of the riders out there, roughly 4 out of 1,000, have a small tweak that we want to make right. And so we hope that you understand this video. If you don't, please give us a call and we'll make sure that we do everything we can to make it right. Thank you very much for your business and ride safely.
Hi, my name is Georg. I'm lead R&D here at Showchrome. You're probably watching this video because you got a mailing that had a QR code in it, led you here, and you had this little piece inside that mailing to go along with it. I'm here to explain why. You've recently purchased one of our trunk shocks to upgrade either your RT or your F3. We've had less than 0.5% of users calling us with complaints that it's failing on their vehicles, and that percentage is a little too high for us. What's happening is that they have over tightened or tightened their bolt down a little bit too much, and when they start to close their trunk, it tightens down even further and gets stuck. They then can't close their trunk, can't open their trunk, and eventually get frustrated enough that they do close it, and it snaps this little eyelet piece off of their original trunk shock you got from Showchrome. We've included a new upgraded eyelet that can be threaded on, and you won't ever find yourself on the road on a long trip with your trunk getting stuck open or closed. Next, we're going to kind of run through the install process, and you might have noticed our trunk light. Stay tuned in January and you can learn more about that. All right, for step number 1, we're going to remove the 2 OEM Torx screws in the back of your trunk. They require a T20. I recommend a T-head Torx. They're just easier to work with. So we're going to take these 2 screws out. If you happen to have one of our Showchrome organizers back here, it's the same screws that we used to hold that on. So take these 2 out. And once we have these 2 out, that will allow us to remove the passenger backrest for step 2. All right, so for step 2, we're going to remove your backrest. It takes a little bit of wiggling to get it up, but you lift it up and then kind of move it back out. And that's going to take that off for you, and that should expose your trunk shock right here that you either had the dealer install or you previously installed yourself. So for step 3, you're going to want to have your trunk lid fully open, supporting it with your other arm. You're going to want to use a small flathead screwdriver and kind of put it right inside this little groove here behind this metal bracket. Then you're just going to gently pry this off and release the tension and pop this off the ball. Your trunk is now loose, so don't let go of this. It's just going to fall, and then we'll move on to step 4. All right, so for step 4, remembering to keep your trunk lid supported while you do this, you're going to want to use your 5mm Allen wrench and remove the trunk shock by removing this trunk shock holding bolt. Don't have a better name for it. And now you should be able to remove the bolt and your trunk shock out of the vehicle. So with your trunk shock removed, you should be able to unscrew the eyelet. If for some reason yours is a little stiff, you can always put an Allen wrench in there just to give you a little extra strength in removing the eyelet. We're just going to unthread that, take the new one you got in the mail, and thread that one back on. And once that is on and tight, we can go back and repeat the steps we just went through in reverse. All right, now for reinstall of your trunk shock. What you're going to want to do is first open up your trunk. Remember to support it. It's a little bit easier if you have a friend help you or someone holding the trunk for you open. I'm using my cameraman here. So what you're going to want to do is make sure the eyelet is in this direction so we can bolt it back up, and that the opening on the lower part of the trunk shock is facing towards you so we can snap that back on the ball. So what we're going to do is kind of lower this down into the trunk area here. If you could open that just a little further for me. And right about there, so we have enough room to kind of maneuver this down here, get the bolt through. Find that pesky little hole, and then we can start threading this in gently by hand. As long as it is threaded in easily, you should be good. And then we will just take our 5mm Allen wrench, finish this off. And now with this new upgraded eyelet, you should be able to tighten this down as tight as you want to make it. And that is as tight as that will go. And you can still see that the trunk shock has a little bit of wiggle room in here. Not a lot, because it's not supposed to move around very much, but it's not binding up. And no matter how tight you make this, this eyelet should not bind up on you. And we will move over to step 2. All right, for step 2, if you still got your friend around, great. If not, remember to keep supporting the trunk. You're going to tip it back just a little bit so you can get this to come out a bit. And then we're going to start lowering the trunk just enough so that this lines up with the ball joint here. Just give it a nice firm push. You're going to hear a big snap. The trunk shock is now on, so if I open this trunk and leave it, oh, it's magically holding itself up again, and you should have your trunk shock fully installed. We will then close the trunk. We can grab our passenger backrest seat again, and it's got these hooks on the top here. You want to make sure those go into the notches, the notches right here, sorry. And we will line those up, get our backrest on, and then move on to the next step. Now for the final step, we'll return those 2 T20 Torx screws into the back of your trunk. Again, if you have one of our organizers installed, make sure you go through the holes on that. And we will install these OEM screws right back into their home. And the second one over here. And then you should be all set with opening and closing your trunk and having it stay up while you got your racks on there.
All right, so that's a wrap from George. We hope those instructions were clear. If you have any questions, please feel free to give us a call. Our 100% human customer service line is open at all times, 888-244-2453. And if we don't answer, it's probably because our team is out riding, as everybody in the business loves being outside whenever they're not at the desk. And please keep a lookout for a bunch of new products we have coming on for this Spyder RT F3, including this baby right here, releasing over the winter. I will say no more. Ride safely. Thank you from the Show Chrome team.